If your ideal clients are scrolling past your content faster than a kid avoiding vegetables, you're not alone. Because what if I told you there is a simple shift that you can make in the next 24 hours that can turn those scrollers into loyal, motivated clients? Hey there, I'm Jason Maland, and I help coaches turn their expertise into stories that sell. And today we're going to tackle the number one reason why your ideal clients are ignoring you. And more importantly, how to fix it. Because let me paint a picture for you. If you're posting content consistently, you're using all of the right hashtags, maybe even doing a little dance on TikTok, we've all been there. Just kidding. But seriously, like if you're posting content, maybe you're getting a ton of engagement and you're even getting followers coming in, but you're not getting the right people. You may call them tire kickers. People aren't wanting to invest in your high ticket coaching program. Maybe they're not super quality leads that would be viable to buy your coaching programs or your services. And instead, you want clients sliding into your DMs. And all you currently hear is silence from those right people. I get it. I've been there. In fact, let me tell you about the time that I freaking spent weeks crafting the quote unquote perfect lead magnet, only to have it land with a resounding thud. And so I pour in, I can even go deeper into this, dude. I freaking spent about 6 months creating a product, a program, and none of my ideal clients wanted it. But when it comes to this lead magnet, I remember it was in my online fitness business, and this was like a massive epiphany that I am hoping to pass on to you. Where I was like, all right, I'm going to create this metabolic. It was like this whole metabolism, metabolic type guide, and I had created a mini course behind it, and I thought it was going to be so freaking good. And it did attract a bunch of people. Like we did get a bunch of people into it, but our conversions were so freaking low from it because come to find out, our ideal clients, like what I would consider my quote unquote dream clients, they didn't care about any of that. The best thing for them was, from a lead magnet standpoint, they just wanted to get onto a session with me. And so I found that finding ways like workshops where people can get more proximity and access, that's what my ideal clients actually wanted. All of the, tire kickers, they wanted some more free guides and things like that. And it was then that I realized the harsh truth. Your ideal clients are ignoring you because you are freaking boring them. Now, before you click away, hear me out. It's not that you're a boring person. It's that your content is likely following, or not following, but falling into one of these traps. Number one, it's generic advice that they've heard a million times. Just like the guide I produced, it's generic. Everybody has something like that, right? In the fitness space, or something similar, right? So generic advice that they've heard a million times. Number two, it's polished perfection that feels unrelatable. A lot of times people try to make themselves seem um, bigger than they are, better than they are, and they're putting out stuff that's too polished, it's too perfect, and it feels unrelatable to people. Number three is teaching too much. Maybe you're teaching entirely freaking too much, and there's not enough emotion that you're bringing in to your actual content and your marketing. Marketing is a lot about psychology. It's a lot about inciting different emotions and shifting different beliefs, which we'll get into in just a second. Your potential clients are drowning in cookie cutter advice and generic value posts, right? Like the top 5 morning routine hacks. Yawn, right? One simple trick to shed stubborn fat. Snooze, right? It's like the secret to success is consistency. You're going to get a bunch of eye rolls, right? They've heard it all before. And so, what are they actually craving? This is a question to ponder on. What are they actually craving? If you can put yourself into your ideal client, your dream client, the person that you wish you had hundreds of people in your program, what is that person actually craving? Because here's the shift you need to make. Number one is you got to share real stories of struggle and triumph from you, from your clients. This is because the stories you tell are going to attract the people from. I was trying to come up with something that rhymed in that moment. I'm so goofy sometimes. But what I'm trying to say is the stories you tell equals the clients you sell. There you go. I think that's what I was looking for. But in reality, so like if I remember sharing stories back when I was like dead broke and I was in debt, 45K in debt. And these are really good stories. These are part of my origin. But I remember like really majoring on those stories. And what did I attract? I attracted a bunch of people that were in a lot of debt, that were dead broke. And I was just like, crap, like they didn't have money to invest into mentorship, into coaching. Versus when I start to share stories about when I was stuck between five and $15,000 per month, and some of the epiphanies and ahas that I had that's catapulted us up to 20, 30, 40, 50K. Like that land, like that's going to attract people that are in that range, right? If I'm like sharing stories about how one of my clients lost 100 pounds when I was in fitness, then all of a sudden, like I'm going to attract more people that have 100 pounds. So if I don't want to serve people that have 100 pounds to lose, and I only want to focus on the people with like, 20 to 50 pounds, I want to share more stories about my struggles around that period of time, right? Or other client struggles around that kind of season of life they're in, or that kind of part of the transformation they're in. Does that make sense? So that's number one, is real stories and struggles of triumph that are um, related to where the dream client that you want to attract is currently in their transformation journey. Number two is vulnerable shares that make them feel less alone. You'll see people get freaking carried away with this vulnerable crap, man. They'll like post stuff that's like it's like it's almost like a cry for help from the person sharing it. And so vulnerable shares are going to be like times where maybe you messed up, right? So I remember sharing stories about me doing a live video when I was serving my online fitness audience. I was out there, and then all of a sudden the pool guy came, the lawn guy came. We had a cleaning service here in our house, and I ended up in my freaking daughter's room, covered by like unicorns and rainbows, and I literally pitched an offer, on that call, and I had like and I was super just like real with people, I had uh like 8 people buy that day, the offer that I pitched on that live, because I was like just being real with them. It was being vulnerable. I didn't just shut off the live. I was like, look guys, this is it, this is where I'm at. But even sharing things along your own journey that make people feel less alone, that make people feel like other people get them, like you get them, right? And this could be, again, stories from other clients too. And number three is unique insights and ahas and epiphanies that challenge their thinking, right? Because when somebody's on your social media, or when they're on social media, period, just in the world, if we even think outside of social media, they have certain beliefs, right? And a lot of times if somebody doesn't have the results they want in life, it's because they have beliefs that aren't serving them. So let's take weight loss for example. If somebody believes that their genetics are off, and that's why they're not getting in shape, then that's going to perpetuate their thoughts, right? So their thinking is like, man, it's really hard to get in shape because of my genetics, right? And that's going to cause them to take certain actions or inactions, and that's going to give them certain kind of results or no results, and that's going to perpetuate some kind of feeling, right? And so in your content, you want to make sure, and I just did a whole video on that whole framework that I'm calling the belief cascade framework. But if you think about this in your content, what insights can you give to people? What new beliefs, what new thought patterns can you give to people in your content that challenge the way they think, right? So if you think that it's really hard to attract dream clients and to get inbound leads, my job today is to give you, to challenge your thinking, to like show you that it isn't that hard. Like you can get inbound leads from your dream clients, like if you follow what I'm sharing with you. So we want to be able to share these unique insights that come from us, nothing that we found on Chat GPT or freaking Googled, or that we're parroting because we heard it from another coach, right? Something that it's unique to our thinking, that from our experiences that have helped us in our own journey, and we can now give that to people to challenge their thinking. Does that make sense? In other words, people are craving you, the real, unfiltered human you. So here's a quick framework to help you create content that connects. So we'll take all of this and I'll give you a framework that you can use. Number one, the hook. So we want to start with the hook. Start with a bold statement or a question that challenges the status quo. This could be something that is extremely polarizing, something that you really stand against or stand for. You can just call out an action that somebody might be taking that is a mistake. You can't, like, I could, like, if I'm in the fitness niche, I can be like, here's why I don't do cardio and how cardio can actually make you fat, right? A bold statement that challenges what people think is normal, what they should be doing, right? I could say, like, here's why posting content every day can actually hurt your sales. What? right? Like I'm challenging the status quo with a bold statement, or it could be a question. I'm just making stuff off the head right now, but if you're not losing at least 10 pounds a month, you might be doing, like, are you making this mistake? Question mark. You see what I'm saying? So something bold that challenges the status quo for them. Number two is the struggle. So share a personal story of when you face a similar challenge. And if you can also share a client story of a client that faced a similar challenge. Does that make sense? And then and I've done complete videos on storytelling. So we're not going to get too deep into the storytelling today, but you just want to share some kind of story. That's going to be the bridge, right? So if you think about the hook, the story that you share is the bridge into the lesson. So number three is the lesson. What did you learn? What unexpected insights did you gain? There is a book called, and I'm actually rereading this right now. Why it's fresh on my mind, and it's called "Made to Stick." It's a freaking excellent book. If you've never read it, highly recommend you read it. Really good book. It's about how to make ideas stick. What makes ideas sticky? And so when you're sharing a story, which is one of the key principles to making ideas sticky, one of the things in there is something unexpected and something that's concrete. And so when you're sharing lessons with people, and you could share something that is unexpected, right? That they're not they weren't thinking about. It's going to help the lesson stick with them. This is also an awesome coaching insight that you can give to your clients, right? Something that's unexpected and that's concrete, right? Something that's tangible that they can grasp, not some ethereal kind of thing, right? So in the lesson, you want to share, what did you learn? What unexpected insights or ahas or epiphanies did you gain? But like what I'm trying to get at is when somebody is like, say, has a headache, they're going to take an aspirin, right? And a lot of times they actually need more water, but they don't actually realize that they need more water. And so they just pop the aspirin. And so the insight that we want to give somebody is like, no, do you know you're probably actually dehydrated? You've got to drink more water. And they're like, light bulb moment. And that helps them be able to like grasp this stuff, right? Number four, after the lesson, is application. How can your audience apply this lesson to their own lives or businesses? This is giving them the whole rubber meets the road kind of deal. How can they apply this? Like, what is something they can do? So, for example, in this piece of content, this framework I'm giving you is application, right? Starting with the hook. So I gave you some of these ahas, these epiphanies, these big ideas, and now we're putting it into an application, right? Here's a step-by-step framework that you can use and apply what we just covered today, right? Bold statement, hook, something that just challenges their thinking and their status quo, right? Then we want to go into a story, your story, client case study. Then we want to give a lesson, right? Something, an unexpected insight that you gained, what you learned, and then application, right? So this is a good example of that. And you can also give them a next step, right? So if you want to have a call to action to where you're like, hey, like in this video, I'm going to say, hey, like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, right? If you want them to download a lead magnet, you could be like, hey, go into the description section, or comment down below if you want XYZ thing that will help you with XYZ. The whole idea here is, when I started applying this framework personally years ago, everything changed. My engagement from the right people skyrocketed. I started to get way more people that I wanted to reach out to me, reach out. And I would have prospects literally reaching out to me, DMing me. And I remember people like saying things like, it's like you're in my head. It's like you know me. Some people would make jokes as like, are you watching me? Do you have a video camera on me? And it's all because you start to speak to people based on what they are currently thinking, and you start to get into their head. You start to share real stories, and that's the stuff that actually hooks in the right people when you are communicating the right stories, the right message in the right way. So if you're ready to create content that turns scrollers into superfans, I put together a free guide. It's called From Ignored to In Demand, the 5 content templates to help you convert. You can click in the link in the description to grab it right now. And if this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more strategies on authentic marketing that actually works. Remember, in a world of highlight reels, be the behind the scenes. Your ideal clients are waiting for the real you. Have an amazing day.